Hello and happy Saturday. Today we're going to do this leather or embossed leather look. This is made with some vinyl and alcohol inks, and that's all you'll need besides a tumbler. So I used a white vinyl and I traced this design off of my husband's very own wallet design. So you'll see me here in this clip tracing his wallet design. I all the dark parts of the design I did with black, and I left everything else, you know, white, or I forgot what it's called, the negative space or positive space. I guess the negative space is the black and the positive space is what it's going to be gonna cut out. And all the black parts are what I am going to be weeding out, cutting out, and I kind of made a mistake. I would get too detailed and I would go down to the smallest brush size when I was tracing, and I need to remember to stay at a certain brush size because it has to do with how thin the design cuts out. And I think I want to do a video on it, like how small should your brush size be on Adobe Fresco. But as you can see, I cut out the vinyl, and as I'm doing that, I'm working on other cups. I did this cow print and glitter tumbler cup in a previous video, so if you want to see that, it's in my tumblers playlist. I'll put it at the top of the screen so you can go check it out and see how I did those. But after my design was cut out, I weeded it out and I realized the lines were way too small. It was way too tedious. It wasn't too bad, but it was still, if I was going to mass produce this, which these are on Etsy now, if I was going to do like a huge order to do it faster, I would need less cutting time, and that way I would have less weeding time. And, or I say less cutting time, I would need less smaller cuts so I have less weeding to do. But I went ahead and did this one and did my first cup, which was the one that my husband ended up keeping. And as you can see, I did more than one panel for this design, or I did one panel for this design and I just duplicated it and I alternated the pieces. So one is right side up and then one design is upside down. That way, if there are gaps in between, but it just makes it more of like a leather or embossed leathered or tooled leather look. This cup, the one thing I love about it, it doesn't have to be perfect. The design doesn't have to be perfectly straight or anything like that. It's a men's cup, and I feel like with men's cup, you can kind of be a little bit less strict about some of the rules to vinyl. You can just kind of do whatever you want because a man's not going to care if it's pretty or frou-frou looking. They want it to look rugged, to look distressed, if even, or even. And I think this design was perfect. But the second design that I ended up cutting out and that I'm weeding right now, I believe, it was a lot faster, a lot easier. It still had a really nice textured look to it. The other thing that I wanted to mention was there are women who post like more of the leathered look for a woman's cup, and they're going to have softer lines. They're going to have less detail to them, and they're going to be a little bit, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a little bit more bubbly and stuff. I feel like men like rugged lines, and this design to me just looks more manly, more masculine. And the other designs, my husband even said, like, he's like, you could tell it's for women. It just wasn't what he wanted, and what my husband's a very rugged guy. So the more rugged the design looks, the better. Oh, this is the second design, or the second one that I went back over and had less weeding time to do. As you can tell, it's a lot faster. But once I get the decals stuck on, then I go over it, which I'm going to go ahead right now and explain the next step. But once you get all the decals onto the cup, you are then going to kind of make sure that they get on there really good. I'm using permanent vinyl, so I go over it multiple times, just smoothing it out, making sure that I get every part stuck to the cup real good. Because then you're going to put the alcohol inks on top, which takes a long time to dry, but you want to make sure you put about 2 coats and a dark coat at that on these cups. My husband loved the cups just as they were without wiping off the alcohol inks. But what you do in the next step is I took a coffee filter because paper towels to me are they have too much fluff on them. And the coffee filters with some rubbing alcohol, you can really clean up and wipe off the alcohol ink. So this was before I wiped them off. You take the rubbing alcohol and the coffee filters, and then you end up with this. You're literally just wiping up and down. You're not wiping in circles. You're going from either top to bottom or bottom to top of the cup, and you're just wiping off the alcohol inks on off of the vinyl, and it gives you this tooled leather look. This is what leather artists, or this is what people who deal with leather actually do. It's like basically the same technique, but you're doing vinyl. And these are really light. The ones that I looked up online, they had a really light looking, or a really light look to them, but my husband really liked the darker look. So if you want to do a dark vinyl and do the background lighter, my husband liked that look a lot better, and he wished I would have done that. And I might do that in another video just for like a, just to show people what other things you can do with this technique. But I liked this look because it's just more lighter, crisper, and I also noticed while I was doing this, I did not seal this vinyl. So maybe this is just some really good vinyl. Normally you do want to seal your vinyl, but I just went ahead and put epoxy on top of this. And I'm glad it didn't mess up. The vinyl didn't lift, it didn't bubble or anything like that. So I got lucky with this. But maybe it's just the type of permanent vinyl, and maybe it was just the vinyl was on there for so long that it was able to adhere correctly. But here's the finished look. It looks so much, it just looks so nice. And I love that you don't have to make this perfect. The more rugged it looks, the more distressed it looks. Like at the top, there's some bald spots or some lighter spots and darker spots out throughout the cup, and I just feel like it makes it more authentic. And so this is why I like doing a lot of men's cups, because you don't have to make it pristine or nice, and it just looks so beautiful at the end. And the cup is smooth, it feels smooth, although the texture probably would feel a lot more cooler. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!